Hello there, welcome to our video on levels. Levels is a really easy to understand, very useful adjustment, and it can do two really key things for this assignment. You can use a grayscale adjustment in the input levels to adjust the midtones of your image, and this can go a long way to correcting a sort of marginal photo. The other thing is under preparing for output is you can adjust the output levels to account for something called dot gain in print. Dot gain is when you've seen a printed image and maybe the shadowed areas just fill up with solid black ink. You don't see the actual halftone dot anymore, or maybe these highlight areas just kind of disappear. Like the typical one is the um, people with a shiny forehead. Maybe you see just a big white blotch on their forehead where the dots disappeared. This can be remedied with levels. And in your Wilmore book in chapter 7, Preparing for Output, on page 252, 253, they give you a couple of charts if you're preparing for newspapers or magazines, and then what levels percentages translate into levels of gray. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at preparing this for the newspaper. And I've approximated that here with this one, Your Name Print, in the demo. And you can see if I switch back and forth from my original PSD to this one that I've prepared for print, the one that I've labeled print looks a little bit lighter, and that's because I've gone into levels and prepared that. Let me put this one away and we'll do a whole new one here. So I've got this one that I made in the color change video, your name underscore 3 underscore color.psd. This was a save as, and I did my colorization. Those of you going for one of the higher grades, the colorization is a real great way to get there, and it's a useful tool to know about. And so this is in RGB format already, of course, since the color is appearing. But we can use levels, even though levels deals with grayscale, we can use it on either grayscale images or full color images. So I am going to do an overall levels adjustment up here over the topmost layer, and I'll get an adjustment layer. And again, that's that's here under the adjustment layers panel button, and I'll do an adjustment layer for levels. And there's my histogram. This is a little population report. This is telling me, John, you know what? We've got very few pixels in solid black. As we move toward the mid-grays, we've got quite a few, and we've got quite a lot of pixels in this lighter area, but we don't have any at all in solid white. That's what this tells me. And you can see the little sliders below here, solid black, mid-tone gray, and solid white. Those are my input levels. Now if I adjust this solid gray level, I can, you might think of this as adjusting the exposure, although it's not totally like that, but you can adjust the rate at which those midtones blend into either solid black or solid white. And it's kind of like a slinky. As you move this one way, one side stretches out, the other side kind of compresses a little bit, and the image overall goes a little bit lighter, a little bit darker. If you have an image that needs a quick adjustment, that's a great way to do it. But for this, we're going to compensate for dot gain. Now in a newspaper, the newsprint paper is so absorbent. It's like printing on a paper towel almost. And we're going to pull this back to 75% to account for dot gain in the shadows. That's going to lighten this significantly. Now, 75%, you could think of this histogram as almost a football field. So what yard line would that be? Would that 75-yard line be translated into the 256 levels of gray? 75%, it says, would be at about the level 69 of gray on here. So I'm going to pull this way up. And this is going to look unnaturally light. And what you might want to do if you are in the computer lab, or if you've got your printer at home, once you save this for print, you might want to print it out and see what this levels change does for us, because it's not going to look so horrible on your printer as it does here on your screen. Now, for newspaper, it says we need to pull back to the 5% level of white, and so that the people's shiny forehead doesn't wind up just paper. So we've got a little bit of dot. So that 5% mark is at the 243 level of gray. So this is my adjustment that I need. And let's turn that adjustment layer on and off. You can see the before and after. And then I can do a little save as. Here we're going to save your name _3. And it was, let's see, what did we call it? Your name _3 print _a.tiff. Now there's nothing totally magic about those names, but I do want you to name it something that will indicate it's for assignment 3. This is your print document. This is sort of version A. It's the sphere intact as a whole by itself. And we'll save that as a TIFF. And I want to replace the old one for purposes of demonstration. Including layers will increase the file size. Now I kept the layers in just in case my save as went awry, because I want to have the ability to open up that old document. There it is, your name 3 color.psd. I want to save that document intact, and I didn't want to destroy my layers and maybe something went wrong with my save as and then I wouldn't have it. So there's my old document just to make sure. Here's my new one for print, and now I'm going to feel okay about flattening this image. Yes. Okay, so here's my flattened image. I've saved it for print, and I've done my output levels properly. And I can go up here to edit and get assign profile, and we'll get that. No, we don't want sRGB. Where did that come from? Adobe RGB 1998 is a good preliminary for print. And now to really save this for print, we'd save it in CMYK, and we would probably assign that that swap standard profile to it. But let's talk about that more in our save for print issue. The other thing that you can do with levels is if you've got, you know, your regular snapshot photo that you've got, you can do a levels adjustment there, and I've done one here. And with your regular snapshot, you can adjust the levels to allow, you know, more shadows or more brightness to come through. And levels is a good quick adjustment for that sort of thing as well. So that's our levels demo, and enjoy.